Peace. I got a quick little message for y'all. I ain't give honor to source, give honor to the ancestors, known and unknown. You clap it up for yourself. Not every person or individual on here, even some of my videos may seem like, it may be coming. Don't ever, for one, take what I say as an attack, because I want to first and foremost say this: be gentle with yourself, and even if you don't know how, learn to have grace with yourself. Grant yourself that grace, meaning when you get up, just be like, I grant myself grace to go easy today. Go easy today, because a lot of us don't know what that looks like, and I'll be the first to say I didn't know what it looks like, and everyone has been fooled. The powers that were had a lot of people believing that there was no light at the end of the tunnel, that there was nothing beyond their circumstances, that people really believed that in the dark that their life was just centered around, just chaos, survival, and dysfunctionality. And now we're breaking free from that, whether you want to call it the matrix, life, your journey, whatever it is you want to call it. I'm just here to empower you to know that it's okay to grant yourself that grace and patience. We're all learning at a different pace. We're all learning a different way. We're all healing at a different pace. Things get heated, confrontations happen. But the beauty of it is that you're still going. You're still growing. You've always been growing. It's just you had to really, now at a point of your life, realize that the plant that, you growing as a plant, that seed hasn't, been nourished, and the soil hasn't been changed. The weeds being like people in your life have been consuming you, projecting so many things that, again, that have suffocated us. It can be in a way where we feel like what's beyond what is on the surface. So it doesn't matter where we are in life. I don't care about the status, because even those people who live in the, what y'all want to call the limelight, no one really knows what anyone is truly going through. And just with all of that, we're learning to be patient again. Like this healing journey, I'm telling you, it's not for the faint of heart. When you're facing your shadow and such, I'm making some popcorn, but it's really not for the faint of heart. And one of the most challenging things we can do, and what we always program to do at a point in our life, is be so hard on ourselves, because we had people that were so hard on us about, so in a way of just like trying to correct us, do this, or do this, or else. And it just, my partner and I was talking about this, like it just never made sense to, make sure I don't burn this popcorn. Never made sense for, you to just pop up out your mama's womb. Everybody go to school, meet your childhood sweetheart, all these other things, live happily ever after. That is not the reality for everybody. Because everyone has experienced some type of trauma. Their childhood wounds have been preyed on, whether from people that are unconscious, aware of this, and people who are consciously knowing, the powers that used to be, trying to keep people in a loop. And now you're seeing people breaking free, and we're just now knowing what it is to love ourselves, to nurture ourselves, to be that flower now, to realize, like, even though you were almost there where it felt like you were withering away, the Most High, Source stepped in to water you again, because you had to learn to water yourself again. Let me check this popcorn. But that's the beauty of all of this, is that us learning that, again, I just want to remind you, you don't have to be hard on yourself about these things. These are very challenging moments. These are very challenging moments for a lot of us, especially coming to our own awareness that most of our life, it seemed like we've been lied to even to even accept the truth. Imagine that, like feeling like you know, everything you've learned, it seems like not only what it seemed like it was just a lie, but it's just you come into this world, it's like, oh my gosh, wow, this is what life is. This can't be just what life is all about. So, a lot of that awareness is, you know, us coming to realize that, like, oh my gosh, like it's got to be more than life. It is. This is, you know, suffering thing and thinking that that's all there is, and in reality, woo, that's hot. It's not. And I'm here to let you know, it's a challenge for a lot of us as mothers and fathers, especially the youth. You know, I told my partner, I'm sitting here like, you know, my princess is you know, I'm grateful that she has patience with me, and that's how I'm reminded of you know, what I call a divine love or a source love, is because you see a child that's so innocent, you know, and they're the first to not even judge you. But we've been judged, emotionally manipulated so much from our lives and upbringings, and now we're coming into the awareness like, oh my gosh, I've been bamboozled, or you know, it's like a lot of us been walking around with, you know, a red nose like a clown. And so, that being said, you know, one moment. Here you go, love. Hey, get your water, okay? There you go. Stop. What I tell you? Not the nails, okay? So yeah, again, a lot of us have been in these circumstances because, you know, it was very challenging for me on my journey because a lot of things I wasn't aware of, and a lot of us didn't even know this. We didn't know that, you know, a lot of awareness around our emotional well-being, our spiritual well-being, our mental well-being, and even to just try to rise out of that, even just try to make sense of that now, doing our best to even just learn that process, because it wasn't taught to us. Again, like I tell you, these corporations, these schools, the university, you know, most of it is centered around like, again, like a grading scale to make it seem like no difference than what you see on a pyramid scheme, making it seem like, you know, I'll put this down, I gotta make this popcorn, making it seem like, you know, well, if you don't have these grades, if you don't do this, then this person is much better than who you are. And in reality, that's not true when it comes to the divine. We all are valuable assets. You are your greatest asset. But again, if that's not taught to you, then you're going to go out here, which we all have been affected by or fallen victim to at that moment. You're going to go out here and to the world, it's going to make it seem like, oh my gosh, like, you know, it's going to seem like no matter what you do, you're not taught to succeed, you know, in a way to where you're feeling number one in your life. So, you know, these are the moments that are changing that, because we have all been in that position where, especially, and that's why you're seeing a lot of this being dismantled, is because a lot of us are rising from the ashes like a phoenix. You know, that's why it's so important on the healing journey, how we come into our own awareness of, you know, I've always been special. I've always been unique. So you have to go to the root of where you have learned these behaviors and where you have accepted this as a norm. So in accepting that, how do you heal something? You have to acknowledge it. And that's why, you know, I'm telling y'all to be easy on yourself, to be gentle with yourself. And a lot of us don't know what that looks like. Where is my water? I'll make some tea, but make sure you slow down, baby, okay? When you're chewing that popcorn. But, yeah. it looks different for everybody, man. I'm telling you, like, that's why I had to learn to have compassion for a lot of people, especially myself, because again, I didn't have at that moment, I didn't realize I had the tools. Because again, I learned a concept. I learned it seems like there was a blueprint set out placed before me in regards to these school systems and everything like that. Like, it was a blueprint forced in my face rather than me leaning more towards on my natural abilities, my my natural abilities, my spiritual gifts to navigate me. My partner and I was riding in the car and something came to me. I was like singing the song. It was just something came to me and I was like, it was funny. I was like, we don't pay tuition, we lean on our intuition. And I was like, wow. And the reason I said that is because there's an inner navigation, like a GPS, there's a navigation within you. And it's like you already had these inklings, you already had this knowledge, the tools that was given to you by the Creator, and that upon your journey, specific times you will be activated or initiated. These things will come online. It's like a database. It's like when you see the world as things evolve, you also evolve. But the programming has to try to keep so many people in believing, I'm talking about millions, billions, or whatever, into not realizing how valuable they are. Like, if you keep telling a child, that keep going here, do this, you gotta, only way for you to be successful, only way for you to be great in this world, only way for you. And a lot of that is so egotistical and so, externalized to make them, feel like to get the approval of others. And truly, your approval of yourself and your connection with your higher power and source is just as any approval in this world. So to teach our youth that they're valuable no matter what they have materialistically, you tell them to believe in themselves from their birth, because that's important. To make them feel good about being here, to make them feel good about, being a part of this world and how they contribute to this world. So a lot of us in adulthood right now, or wherever we are upon our journey, this wasn't instilled in us because it's almost like we were given a manual or a blueprint that was not ours. But the blueprint was already within us all along. It has always been within us. And see, that's the thing that the illusion that was pulled over, given to us at first, like, this is what you're here to do. And no, that illusion has been dispelled. That's why you see the mask falling off whomever it is. No matter what place they're at, again, it's like a domino effect right now. The last shall be first, and the first shall be last. Because the thing is that they thought they had you fooled until, the divine stepped in like, okay, hold on. Wake up, smell the coffee, or I don't drink coffee, but wake up and just become more aware that you have a purpose here. All of us, you are a puzzle piece. Even the ones that try to trick you into believing that you were invaluable to the bigger picture, the puzzle in itself. Yes, you are. You are loved. You came here to be loved. You came here to love yourself. You came here to learn these lessons just as I did, just as my princess, anybody else. We all came here to learn lessons. And that's how we learn lessons. It's through karma. And then learning the lesson and completing that, you elevate. You will never be the same. So I don't care where you at. You are never the same. I don't care who told you, because I've heard some of the most disgusting things from people, and having now, mending those things and keeping them at bay, I realized like that was a lie. That was a lie when people told you that you were not valuable and you were not an asset and you wasn't a part of all this divine scheme. Yes, you are. You are valuable. You are seen. I see you. The Creator, Source sees you. We just been so far and disconnected from ourselves. Our mothers, our fathers, sons and daughters have been so far away from, you know, the reality and actuality that they matter, that they have a role in all of this. Their love is needed. You're needed. So remember that. I don't care who told you. I don't care who is popularized in the world, like where they at. Do they matter? Yes, they're playing their role, but at the same, don't forget about your role. You're the main character. Again, it's a challenge because we all have been, seem like, you know, we've been fooled and coming to this awareness. It can be very challenging. It can be very emotional. It can be like, it can be very, you know, it's not pleasant. You know, you know, it can be very treacherous, or it can be like a roller coaster. It can be a lot of stuff you can't really put into words because it's like starting over anew. It's like being rebirthed again. So in that, be patient with yourself because no one has it all together. Even myself, I'm still learning to effectively express my emotions and communicate in a healthy way. And even in learning to do that again, you have to recognize that I had to recognize the unhealthy way. You know, that's the process. And coming into knowing that, you know, we don't ever need to beat ourselves up over what decisions that we have made because they were made. They cannot be undone, but you have the strength to do better no matter where you are. So I'm going to leave that with y'all. Keep your head up. Breathe. Love yourself. And even if you don't know how, ask, you know, ask the divine to show you or ask for help. You know, take a walk, do something to, you know, to learn more about who you are, not about the inner dialogue about what other people who said you are. Because all of that is a process, man. You're talking about so much programming over some of us 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And now I'm coming to so much of awareness that it can be very hurtful. It can be very painful, you know, go through all the emotions, shame, guilt, anger, a lot of things to even get to where you are, to even have a sense of peace, to even have a sense of harmony and bliss again. So I just want to encourage y'all, man, like be easy. You know, life is not hard like a rock. It's not. It actually becomes more easier and you become more protected as you realize you elevate more and become, you know, the divine is awaiting your arrival to come back home to yourself. I need you to come back home to you. I had to come back home to myself and I had to go through some of the darkest stages in my life. And I didn't realize that coming home to myself was me coming home. Imagine like a house. I'm going to leave y'all with this analogy. Imagine a dark, abandoned house. Coming home to myself was coming home to those childhood memories that haunted me, no matter what age, no matter how far I went in life, no matter who I was with. Coming home was coming home to the reality that my childhood wounds were being preyed upon. I was emotionally manipulated. You know, I was, you know, a lot of things that I wanted to ignore. Parts of myself I wanted to hate, that I'm learning to love again, to accept again. And in that you're talking about different ages. You're talking about different homes and residences where certain childhood traumas happen. You're talking about years of unresolved trauma to where it's like daily. You know, you're trying to just make it through the day and boom, some type of memory comes up and you're like, and the way you get better, and this is why I say be easy on yourself, is that your reaction is not the same. Your response is in a healthy way. You assess it, you know, by honoring your emotions, by crying, by doing something that could really make you feel better in, you know, even acknowledging that. Whatever emotion that you have to feel it to the depths, because your emotions are your gateway, you know, to the aspects of those inner wounds that we have ignored for so long. So that healing journey, it's not it's not all glitz and glam. Like I said, I had to come home to me. There were times where even I visited childhood homes. You know, I visited my old childhood homes. Um, I visited some of my old childhood homes. I even went as far as like touching the doorknob, you know, standing outside. I got some videos on here on my YouTube where maybe, yeah, I'll go back and share it. Matter of fact, I'll share it in my community where I went back home. And when I say come back home to myself, it's like I replayed the memories. I visited these places because it may seem like we're past something, but as me visiting these places, I realized how much a lot of built up, pent up anger, emotion for what I experienced there. And so I feel, from my perception, when something is truly, a wound is truly healed, it can be healed. But what we have to accept that the beauty of our scars, and I don't mean just our outer scars. I mean the beauty of, like, when you know there's an open wound still there within yourself that isn't healed. But even when that aspect is healed and is shut, there's still a scar to remind you. But in the beauty of reminding you, do you remember and can you see the worth of why you had to experience, why you had to go through it, and give gratitude? See, that's the difference between seeing it as a wound and seeing it as a scar. The wound wants you to just focus more so on just the pain and not get past it and ignore it and suppress it through activities, through work, through other things. But when it comes to seeing the scar is just like anything in life. You know, you see the scar, but you're reminded that, you know what? Wow, I'm grateful that that happened. I can give gratitude to that relationship, to that partnership, to that physical, verbal, sexual, abusive relationship, to that, you know, to that narcissist relationship, all those things. And from my experience, I went through most of that. Childhood, I relived it through other people, through relationships. But when I got to that place when I said no more, I went and sat with myself. And I did certain things to where, you know what, I'm going to go visit these childhood homes. And even through my own experience, I walked through these places, went to these homes. Remember when I was a child. And sometimes you have to go through it alone, meaning with yourself, not with other people, because no one knows the depths of what that emotional pain was, that abuse or whatever. And you feel that. And however you need to alchemize, transmute it, whether through a letter, writing it, apologizing to yourself about, you know, even why, you know, because it's easy for us to forgive others, but it's like forgiving yourself and coming home to yourself, that forgiveness and that acceptance, because really the acceptance of that is you allowing yourself to move forward with grace. And then you be patient through that healing process of learning, like, you know what? I got to be patient through this because it's not going to look. That's why the healing journey looks different for everybody. It's not supposed to look a certain way. When you going through these changes, there is no identity. Because your identity was consumed by everyone else, that false blueprint, that false narrative, that distortion, that dysfunctionality of what you should be and how you should be doing it. And in that, you develop a pattern in these behaviors that have kept you in a loop that you thought you were progressing and you were suppressing and you were keeping everything, you know, in the shadows. So that abandoned home, you know, that analogy, or, you know, that you are that abandoned home that have all these things that have been stored there. And as you walk in, you are that light to see that 3-year-old boy, that 5-year-old girl, that 13-year-old girl, you know, even to whatever age it is that you dealt with something that you know that, okay, it's time to come back home to myself. It's time to come back home to those memories, those things that I've been keeping. It's time to be honest with myself. It's time to be honest with my partner. It's time to be, you know, authentic with myself for once. Because then you doing it, facing it first, then you're able to go out there. Then even what I've learned through my experience when I went out there and faced these things, because this is something that's not talked about a lot. See, the thing about generational curse breaking, you got to realize from a spiritual warfare, spiritual aspect, there's energies involved. There's certain, entities. Look at the word identity. It got entity in it. So you're talking about shadow aspect of spiritual warfare, things that have been following your lineage for so long. And so those dark, or malevolent forces want to keep you in a place where, that you don't have hope, that you don't have faith, that there's nothing past this circumstance or this situation. So in that, what happens is you see a lot of people become consumed by that. But you are the one, the generational curse breaker, that sees the light again, sees the light at the end of the tunnel, no matter your father, mother, anybody else, because it wasn't a sign for them to do it. They gave up a long time ago. They surrendered to the dark a long time ago because they refused to see the light in their situation. So in you seeing the light, one thing that I realized on my journey is that sometimes it's different for everyone, as you acknowledge and you heal these things, that energy or, those things, as you break these generational curses, that spirit is lifted, Ashe. And it has to find another host. So in that's why you will see people after you have faced something and learn to embrace and come home to yourself, you will see certain things that energy try to attack you through other people. Oh, you ain't, who you think you is? Oh, you the devil. Oh, you this, you wicked. Oh, you yada, 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 this and that. And I've learned this with coming home to myself. And in coming home, I'm coming home to the same darkness that my mother faced, the same darkness that my father faced, the same things that was in my DNA, that my ancestral lineage, that I realized that in order for me to face the fears of my own shit and my own gifts, I have to realize that, who else is going to do it? I have to see myself as the light and the dark. So when I go address these shadows, when I go address these things in my lineage, yes, it's scary. It can be very scary, but you don't have to be fearful. Yes, you can be scared going into something because, sometimes we psych ourselves out and not realize we already have all the tools. And plus, we have spirit guides. We have things that are divinely guiding us and protecting us. So you're not going in alone. Just know that. So when you go into these places and you coming back home to yourself, realize that as you elevate, those lower nature or those things that once tried to consume you will do their best to cling on, to attach to something or someone, whether through people or anything, to try to remind you, to see if you really are worthy and valuable. To really see that if you're worthy of this life that you desire and want. To really see if you're worthy of moving forward. Or will you get pulled back into the same, addictions, the escapism? Will you get pulled back into the same thing? And sometimes it does happen that way. But what I tell you, don't ever give up. You can surrender, but you can still get up again. I believe in you. I see you. Take care of you, because no one knows what you've been given. No one knows what you have seen. No one knows the depths of what has been offered to you by the divine. See, what most won't tell you is that others try to skip, and do things and go through other things in another way. But you have done things and are continue to do things authentically. You planted those seeds. You did those things that no one else knows, to the depths of the passion, the sacrifice, the blood, sweat, and tears that you had to endure. So remember, I see you. The source sees you. I love you. Peace and blessings. Be easy. Breathe. This too shall pass. Ashe. 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 Shalom.